Welcome to the Geek Quorum,
It's a fracking podcast. I'm Brian.
and I'm Byrne. We're a bunch of geeks that love to geek out about the things we love, and today we're geeking out about The Mandalorian, Episode 6. We love the water cooler and hope through these conversations we can kind of bring a little bit of that friendly conversation back about the things we love. Brian, let's kick things off. This is Mandalorian, Episode 6. What did you think?
What did I think? I thought it was a very strong episode, while at the same time not moving the overall story forward at all. So, sort of like on the plus side, it was really nice to have an episode that was exciting and didn't have too much fan service until the very, very end. But on the other side, I'm still waiting for them to show us where the direction of the show is going.
Yeah. I think you and I are on the same page. This, for me personally, this was my favorite standalone episode. And it was my favorite episode because I think it asked the most out of the viewer than any previous episode. And what I mean by that is when you think back about all the episodes so far, the camera and the action never leaves Mando. Like the camera is always with Mando, following the action of Mando on screen. This is the first time the camera actually has Mando in another room and you actually don't know where he is or what he's doing. You're following other characters around. It's a small thing. I mean, the camera's not far from Mando. It's not like we're jumping between Dagobah and Hoth or Bespin. But I liked the added kind of complexity of that. It felt much more cinematic as a result and less like a cartoon or a fairy tale.
Yeah, I thought it was well constructed. I was particularly observant of, especially in the beginning, there was a lot of long lenses used. In other words, they were using depth of field in a way that I hadn't seen in prior episodes. In the opening scenes, when he's in the hangar of that space station place, him in focus and everything else behind him really blurred out, like other characters and background actors just not really being seen. That's a very conscious choice on the part of the director and cinematographer to do that. It separates the character from everything else and draws your focus right to him. And I thought that was a very interesting choice that hadn't seen quite to that amount before. And I think if you're to really analyze it in a cinematic way, it was sort of like he's very separated from even the people that he is involved with. And, in this sort of like underworld area of his that he works in is becoming more and more detached. At least that's how I kind of took it.
This was clearly a heist theme or train robbery theme in a Western context. And I was just kind of contemplating. It really struck me at the moment they did the title card on the screen. I was thinking back how much time had elapsed in the story and how far they had actually advanced the plot. They had introduced in 5 new characters.
Mm-hmm.
They had introduced the entire plot for the episode and created immediate tension between Mandalorian and 4 of those characters.
Yeah.
All in the 2.5, 3 minutes. And I was thinking back of some of the other kind of great and lauded heist movies that exist, right? Would take your Ocean's 11, 12, 13 of choice, or, you pick it. In a 2-hour film, you will spend 30, 40 minutes to establish what are you stealing and who are all the people who are going to help you steal it.
Right. I think one of the nice things about this episode, too, was there's a juxtaposition that we had not seen previously. In the previous episodes, we've seen the Mandalorian in gritty, grimy underworld environments, whether it's a desert planet or just some seedy place to go in. And in this one, they're going to a highly sterile environment of this prison ship. It's different. It's not something that visually or atmospherically we've seen previously, and I thought it worked really well. There was like the group, the Ocean's 5 basically, or the Mandalorian 5 that are going in to do this job are all very seedy characters, and the environment they're in is very sterile in a sci-fi way. And I thought that was really cool, and it worked having that sort of disparity represented on screen. They did a good job of new things. The prison ship was new. The New Republic officer guy that was there unexpectedly. Like his uniform was a good blend of what older stuff and
Hmm.
newer things. That was good. The ship itself was, as far as I know, something we hadn't seen before. Some of the droids were new. There, I liked how like the big, darker charcoaly looking ones were sort of like ones we'd seen in the original Star Wars, like by the Jawa Sandcrawler. I think there was one that might have been sort of like that same sort of shape.
Oh,
It borrowed from it, but it didn't steal from it, and I like that. So I thought, we've been saying, please give us something new that doesn't have any ties to the old stuff, and they did for the most part, except for the very end where the X-wings fly in, and I'll let that pass. They're X-wings, and if there's anything, it's like, well, that's an easy asset for the CG people to take and just be like, they have a million 3D models of X-wings to
true.
use, so instead of having to design something brand new all the time. Although they did come up with that new gunship, the gunboat thing. I think that was new.
There were a couple sequences as well that I thought were really well executed. First and foremost was the one I mentioned at the very beginning, up until the title card. But that second one, where Mayfield is looking for Mando, and you have the strobe in the background, and you're looking down the corridor,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see Mando kind of in one frame, and then he disappears in the next frame,
Yeah.
and he's slowly kind of creeping up.
Yeah.
Those little sequences did such a good job of kind of building that tension. Visually, it was also just beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
And I was thinking back, there hasn't been a lot of kind of tension like that in an episode.
I think if there is an issue with the episode, there were a lot of characters, and that was great. But that said, there was nothing going forward that's in the near future that they're going to be impactful for. They were just
Yeah.
they were there and they're gone, and it's almost like for you board gamers out there, it's like a drafting game where you draw a bunch of cards and you have all these cards in your hand. You're just taking and selecting and discarding ones, and it feels like this show has been like drafting characters just like every episode, and then they're all just being discarded. And I'm like,
Yeah.
when is this going to be where you have a hand of characters?
Yeah, they're not building a cast.
Yeah.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed. The show's being executed relatively well, and I hope they're doing it for the long term, which means they're taking their time, and that towards the end of this season, maybe you'll actually see, more characters returning to the screen.
Yeah.
Because I want those characters to develop, but I agree. Although he didn't manage to kill everyone in this episode, so like they are in a prison ship. So
Yeah. I'm surprised that
at least 3 out of the 5.
yeah, I'm surprised
are in
that
a
some of
prison
them
ship.
weren't destroyed. It seems when the muscle guy had the the other layer of doors, I thought, okay, he
That
is
was
definitely gone.
great.
I mean, call back
Oh,
to the
that
first
was great.
episode when he shot the door and the thing irised closed, and the guy was like cut in half or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, he has to be dead. And oh, okay, I guess not. I guess one thing that is kind of interesting and is consistent is the droids on the show. If he doesn't like the droid is going to die. It's gonna have a hole through its processor, and it's going to be smoking ruin, and it's going to be gone. So like so far, IG-11, Zero, they're yeah. But the problem I had though was that they were setting up that Zero was accessing a ship and seeing some of the recordings and whatnot, and piecing together that there's this thing that's special about his cargo, the little baby Yoda, and it's not going to go anywhere because Zero didn't get a chance to convey that to any of the other crew. Zero has a hole in its processing unit and is gone. So it seemed like that was a missed opportunity again, because again, I just want them to start going forward in terms of like progressing where eventually this story is going to go. And they have 2 episodes left before the end of the season.
Yeah, I thought that was a really weird choice as well. And you have a great tease at the end of the last episode and then do nothing with it. Now, I trust that they will come back to that moment.
Yeah.
But what I want out of every episode is exactly that. It is the kind of the Marvel formula. At the end of every episode should be a tease to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't always have to be heavy-handed, but I think you make the point. It's got to draw the story forward. There's that great moment of tension created when Mando's secret is discovered, and then, like you said, it goes nowhere.
Yeah.
So while I loved this episode as a standalone episode, it's completely disposable.
Yep.
And I want each episode to feel essential. It's those, and that's kind of what sets apart, I think, a really good story from a lot of the kind of episodic television that we've seen of the past. It's like, if you miss an episode, you're screwed.
Yeah.
I want every episode to matter.
Yeah.
And I'm so far, not every episode works that way.
Yeah.
And that's a huge loss.
Yeah, especially on serialized shows that do have a long arc, that they have links in the chain between each episode, and sometimes they'll do one that is a, quote, standalone episode. But even those have something that makes it so that it is of its time in the overall plot line of that show.
Yeah, there's connective tissue that connects it to at least some episode or some plot point or character.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to know kind of where they're going.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem to be building to anything at all.
Because again, the whole thing is like, Baby Yoda was a big asset that people wanted either protected or killed. And for several episodes now, that's not been addressed. And at some point, they have to go back to that.
To geek out on this particular topic, there seems to be something about his species where the Force is instinctual. There have been, I can think of at least 4 times where Baby Yoda, you can see him reaching out, you can see him closing his eyes, the music builds, and you're expecting some payoff of him using the Force, and then Mando picks him up and moves him, or a droid is shot through the head, or something. But this species is more than just Force sensitive. Its connection to the Force seems so inherent and innate.
Yeah.
And instinctual, rather than something that's learned and taught to you through some kind of advanced university degree program. But yeah.
Yep.
Just to summarize, great standalone episode. Really want to see how this ties into a larger story arc. That is a huge shortcoming of this series so far. Not to the show's and series' complete detriment, but man, come on, get more. I want more. I want more story. That's where I'm at.
And there are 2 more in this season. We're looking forward to talking about them. So I want to thank everyone again for subscribing and joining us on this little journey. We will be around next time. See you later.
Thanks so much for watching Geek Core. Make sure to smash that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications bell, give this video a big thumbs up, and make sure to share this video with as many people as possible. It really helps our channel.